There we go. Welcome everyone back in to Crypto's News. It is me, Omar Bam, aka Crypto, and I'm so honored to have you guys showing up from all around the world. Hello, Kevin in Lakeland, Rob in Greece. I'm just so honored that something like crypto, could bring so many people together across across so much for just the unification that this idea of the evolution of money and so much with finances this new age could bring. So thank you all for joining me here. Azam, yeah, 8 hours to go. Yeah, getting ready for the merge. Azam, nice to see it. I definitely had to do a stream today. It's a special day for sure. It's historic. Been waiting for this merge since basically I first heard about Ethereum. It wasn't called the merge back then, of course. Back then it was Casper or Serenity. It was going to be the stage 4, believe it or not. I was privileged enough to be part of Ethereum around stage 1 still, right after its ICO. I wasn't part of the ICO. Heard about it after about 2 or 3 months after that ICO. But anyway, there was going to be 4 stages basically Metropolis, all these different ones. And eventually we would get to Serenity. And man, were there delays, a complete revamp of the entire thing. And it's just been ages. It's definitely a celebratory day that no longer will we have to be waiting for this great merge. No longer will you have people shitting on Ethereum saying it's never going to happen. It's finally happening today. Kiwi's getting excited. See, he's excited about the merge. And so hopefully everything goes off without a hitch. We haven't heard about any sorts of vulnerabilities. And so that's exciting. And but it's always a little bit nerve-wracking as well getting into it because something could happen. There could be zero-day exploits that no one heard about. Something could go off with some sort of problem that wasn't disclosed. And so it's an exciting period, but I'm personally optimistic. I think it's there's a reason it's been delayed and that it's had some great diligent people watching it carefully to make sure that everything goes all right. So here we are. I know, it's quite funny, isn't it? Stefan, you want to come? That's his laugh. You guys got to hear it. Isn't that awesome? Anyway, let's go ahead and get started here. It's top 10 pence. Yeah, thank you for reminding everybody to hit that like button. It certainly goes a long way to helping the show. And if you can also remember, if you have a moment to share the videos, it's a huge help. You can also just right click on a certain segment of the video and copy that timestamp and share that on social media if there's just some little part of a video you want to be able to reference or share with others. So let's go ahead and get started by taking a look at the prices as we do our tour today of crypto. So we have Bitcoin turning green along with Ethereum. It was actually down a little bit in the red. It was below 20,000 bucks for a little bit there, but now it's back above it. So a little bit of volatility, I guess you could say today. But for the most part, it's flat, like you see with the stock market, which has not done much today. You have Ethereum at 1617 on the day of the merge, and it's up 1.9%. Bitcoin currently up 0.5% at 20,183. It looks like you have analysts becoming concerned that there could be some sort of issues with solvency that could result in some sort of credit freeze. I actually think something like that would be very bullish for Bitcoin because I think there's a lot of commentators out there, traditional economists, trad cons, who believe that the system is perfectly fine how it is and that can always be taped and always be fixed. But I certainly don't believe that's the case from everything I've followed throughout the years. And with what's happening in the debt market and what's going on with quantitative tightening that's going to be picking up this coming month, or this month is September, which some have said is actually a really bad month traditionally for markets, but I guess it hasn't been the worst month yet for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Maybe it's because of the merge, we'll see. But anyway, quantitative tightening could cause some sort of problems. And you have, for example, a Bank of America interest rate strategist, Ralph Axel, warning that declining liquidity and resiliency of the treasury market arguably poses one of the greatest threats to global financial stability today, potentially worse than the housing bubble of 2004, 2007. So things could be getting spicy. And I think it could make alternative currencies quite attractive if there was some sort of problem with the banking sector. How can we continue to trust those who drive us continuously into brick walls, or almost into brick walls, and manage to dodge one before a bigger one that's coming up next? So interesting times to be living through, no doubt. The crypto pirate, yeah, pothead. Hey Kiwi, if you have to keep it down now. You have to keep it down because we're trying to do a show. Can you keep it down? Can I get a kiss? Can I get a kiss? Can I get a kiss? Okay. Anyway, so there's been a lot of ways that you might have heard of to try to analyze Bitcoin, to try to time the bottoms. You might think of like Trace Mayer and his Mayer multiple. You might think of, for example, the stock to flow ratio by Plan B that has not really panned out that well. It's not funny, man. It's not a joke, Kiwi. This is serious matters. Okay, we're gonna have to kick him off the show in about a minute. Sorry, guys, if he continues. But here we have actually the Bitcoin rainbow chart, which is another metric that people like to look at. And this is more of a curve that ultimately takes Bitcoin into much higher prices. This one doesn't even extend further into the $1 million Bitcoins, but it does take us quite high there. Right now, we're still sitting in the basically a fire sale territory. It hasn't dropped below the actual rainbow chart. Well, slightly below it, as you can see, but it has done that several times around before the halvenings in the past. So it's tended to be in that range sometimes for a very long time in this blue region at the bottom where the prices would be lowest before climbing much higher into the maximum bubble territory ultimately. But it could be a while where we could be sitting in this range, or it could be a short time like we saw before the last halvening. But in the past, we've seen here like 2016 that it was a while we were sitting in this territory. Now, as long as we don't drop significantly below it, it could be a sign that we could again get super frothy with Bitcoin. Obviously, that would drag up the whole market. And I think that's obviously, if Bitcoin is still the big leader, it's possible we'll have a flippening before the next bull cycle, but I don't know. That's what others are saying. Hey, Scott, nice to see you again. Oh, and a big thank you to Michael Devon for contributing still to the show. He contributed even when the show was down. There were like 3 months when I didn't do the show between April and like, was it June or something like that? And he still sent me like $5-10 a month, which is really nice. It was like, damn, I feel guilty for not doing the show. But thank you again, Michael, for that. And those of us just joining us. So let's actually take a look at this. So Brian Armstrong has put out this tweet in relation to what Coinbase is going to be doing when it comes to looking at different Congress people and how friendly they are toward crypto or how antagonistic they are in their in what they've said before in the past, and giving them a sort of rating in a range of whether they are crypto friendly or not. So Brian Armstrong said, starting today, Coinbase will begin integrating our crypto policy efforts right into our app, the Coinbase app. These will help our 103 million verified users get educated on the crypto positions held by political leaders where they live. Side note, I'm hearing a lot of talk again about how Twitter is just so full of bots, for example. Like Elon Musk was about to buy Twitter, but he backed out because he was concerned about how many of the users on Twitter were not even real people. They were in fact bots. But it looks like Coinbase is giving Twitter and other social media platforms a real rivalry here when it comes to verified users. We know that they have to do actual KYC. Coinbase, so 103 million is quite huge for any crypto product or any product just in general. So quite an accolade there. But yeah, for instance, with this, users can see, US users can see crypto sentiment scores from members of Congress based on publicly available statements they've made, register to vote, and find out about local town hall events. Over time, we want to help pro-crypto candidates solicit donations from the crypto community in crypto. That's good, because there was another discussion today that I saw about Glassnode, which does crypto research, but it was being pointed out that they don't even accept crypto at all for their services, which is weird. You're a crypto company and you don't accept crypto. So they're trying to help these candidates raise perhaps funds and donations in crypto, which is pretty sweet. We'll also expand to get more geographic coverage in global elections and add data on various candidates running for office, not just current elected officials. So ultimately, people who are running as well could be listed here. Some of the publicly available data backing this comes from an organization we helped support called the Crypto Action Network. This scorecard is the first of its kind and a new tool for the crypto community to learn about their elected officials. Crypto advocacy is very important for our mission of increasing economic freedom in the world, and Coinbase will do its part to help, but the crypto community is much bigger than Coinbase. Hopefully we can all rally to engage elected leaders and drive sensible policies. basically you're going to be part of the cool club if you're in the green here and friendly toward crypto. The crypto community is becoming an increasingly large constituent of voters and donators, right? You can you can read more about our broader education initiative here. So here's a kind of overview.
I'm here to give a quick demo of the Legislative Action Portal. The Legislative Action Portal allows any Coinbase user to learn more about where members of Congress in the U.S. stand on crypto. Members of Congress have a score ranging from positive to negative based on publicly available data, including legislative records, media statements, social media posts, and more. For members that don't have enough information, such as Hakeem Jeffries, their profile will display not enough data. This will be updated if their score changes. Let's tap into Representative Torres. You can immediately see that the sentiment is very positive. You can view his website or his Twitter to learn more, as well as see any notable statements that he has put out. You're also able to see what crypto bills, if any, that he has sponsored or co-sponsored. We've also added a very easy way for you to contact your member of Congress to urge them to support pro-crypto policies by tapping the big blue Get Involved button below. In the coming weeks, you'll receive a notification, such as the one shown here, that will allow you to access the portal. If you wish to revisit the portal, you simply need to go to your in-app notification center and tap on the crypto advocacy notification in order to access the portal.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I do like that you can see different statements there that are made by these politicians, and you can also see any sorts of bills that they might have in progress or have done in the past, which is helpful. It should help with the information distribution and help, for example, when things come out about Tornado Cash and you want to know where your local representatives might stand, that you could just open up your Coinbase app and get more information that way and figure out how to reach this person. It should make it easier for people to get access to that kind of information for more reasonable, I guess, or for easier call to actions, really. So I guess interesting work there to see. Again, when it's Coinbase and you're supposed to just be like a crypto finance company, suddenly you have to get into politics just because you were so early and have such an influence, really. And they're one of the only companies that can direct things this way, I would say. So it's good to see that they're really trying to support crypto in a good light for the rest of us. And it impacts people around the world as well, because a lot of what happens here in the United States eventually gets copied or could be copied elsewhere. So yeah, just wanted to share that with you guys. So Terra co-founder Do Kwon, I talked about him yesterday and now he's in the news. Shortly after I spoke about him and did that car video, it came out that South Korea had issued, a court in South Korea had issued an arrest warrant for the founder of this project. He is now wanted, although it seems like he and the other 6 individuals that are currently wanted in relation to Terraform Labs are located in Singapore, not in South Korea, and therefore they can't even be arrested right now. And it seems like Singapore doesn't have relations with South Korea to extradite Do Kwon over to South Korea for his arrest, since he's now wanted again, along with the others. So yeah, it looks like the Do Kwon's followers had called themselves lunatics. It hasn't been great for Luna or Luna Classic. Both tokens have tumbled a lot. A shadow of the combined $60 billion, it says here, that they had. The price of the new token, the new version of Luna, apparently fell 45% after the announcement of this indictment to 240 after the news of the warrant. And the market cap fell 42% to 413.2 million. Although I had last seen that it was up somewhat, it was closer to 28% down, and it was like 19% for Classic. So yeah, they're not doing quite well right now. But for now, it seems like Do Kwon is still running free. It's upset a lot of people in crypto to know that people like him are running free while you have like a Tornado Cash developer being arrested. And yeah, I guess some are saying it's quite an injustice. Just the duplicity of his freedom right now is upsetting to some people who feel they have been wrongly burned and misled by him and the actions of others like Alex Mashinsky, the CEO of Celsius. But for now, it looks like he will continue to run free, and I'm sure that it was a reason. There was a good reason that Do Kwon and the others went to Singapore. They probably did their research in trying to figure out exactly where they might be able to go to not be extradited and be arrested, would be my suspicion there. Gortrabat, a lunatic here. Nice, man. To put it right, the warrant is only about Luna being seen as security All fair by South Korean government. Not anything for being a fraud, as far as I know. Oh, cool. I'm not seeing that being reported at all here on Bloomberg or any of the other sites that I had looked at. So thank you for that bit of information. That is helpful to know that it's not about fraud. I think that's what most people expect, really want him to go to jail for, not some sort of securities offering, which most likely could result in some sort of plea deal, maybe a fine. And others said maybe probation. It wouldn't be too bad, but not significant jail time as much as you might see with something like complete fraud. So I guess we'll have to continue to monitor this story. I appreciate that, Gortrabot. I love it, man. That's what it's all about. That's why we do the live stream. So you can also, if you have missed it, check out, I mentioned it yesterday, there was an exclusive video here by a YouTube page called Coinage, and it's called Inside Crypto's Largest Collapse with Terra founder Do Kwon. And you can hear from the horse's mouth himself how it was like being in his shoes, going through all of this, and what his thinking is around what's happened in the past and going forward. Apparently, at one point in that interview, I must have missed it. I didn't watch the whole thing, granted, but in an interview, the prospect of jail time was brought up to Kwon, and Kwon's response was, "Life is long." So it seems like he expects that he might have to serve some sort of jail time, or might expect that he will. So I just want to bring that up to you guys. So let's go ahead and switch courses right now and talk about Ethereum W. So that's what it's called now, or EthW is, it seems like, the official name of the Ethereum proof of work fork. That is going to be the ticker symbol. And there was an open letter that has been issued to the Ethereum community. I didn't get to go over it, so I didn't want to bring that up to you guys. For example, it goes into why the EthW core members chose to stay anonymous, because they're trying to follow the cypherpunk ideology that Bitcoin was born out of, for example. They talk about how basically they're anonymous even in between each other. They don't know each other. They're trying to protect against powerful enemies and lobbyist friends in DC and so on. And that their official handles really on, or places that you can learn more, are Ethereum PoW, that account on Twitter, and a Wall Street's Bets community that are going to be the voices for core. The rationale behind these efforts to maintain a proof of work version of Ethereum leading into the merge is that POS, or proof of stake, is indeed a game changer, they say, but only in bad ways. Nevertheless, PoW has a 12-year track record of being reliable, robust, and censorship resistant. It is only prudent to continue a proof of work Ethereum, which should be a no-brainer for all those who champion openness and a free market, as there is no downside. I mean, there is a little bit of downside if you don't implement replay attack protection properly, and people, I guess they should have done more homework, but there could be some downside for individuals if they do have attacks on their accounts because they didn't understand how to split things properly, or the chain ID wasn't changed. But anyway, after all, if POS Ethereum is really so great, why be afraid of competition? I don't think anyone's afraid of competition. They're just saying it's kind of futile if some are expecting the coin to go up in price that much, and that this will be a highly mined coin as an alternative to Ethereum no longer allowing for a proof of work mining. And so I thought this is pretty cool. EthW is not to be created. It's a being already. It is Ethereum at the very present and will remain to be if enough users let it. Whoever reads this article is likely a user of it already. The mission of EthW is simply to continue being Ethereum. It is Vitalik and the darn Vitalik and his masternodes and the Ethereum Foundation and their friends who are changing it. Indeed, they were the creators of Ethereum, but are they the Ethereum itself? Can parents also be control freaks that only care about profiting for themselves rather than the well-being of the child? Would an independently minded child always blindly follow, or would he finally start to say no? EthW doesn't have to exist. No, it doesn't. So, I mean, these are just kind of childish arguments, it seems like to me. These are arguments that would be brought up by a teenager. Whatever. They're not even like really even talking about the difference between proof of work and proof of stake here. Just saying like proof of work is more viable than proof of stake without any rationale, although it does exist and is being talked a lot about on Twitter. So anyway, EthW doesn't have to exist. No, it doesn't. So are most beings on Earth. But like every organism is motivated to live, we as part of a being called Ethereum, recognizing the danger of being pushed to proof of stake, which begins the end, have decided to resist. EthW is simply a surviving instinct, which is precisely why proof of work may eventually be the one that fits to live. There's been a lot of criticism about the approach that EW has taken. And from my understanding, it hasn't changed just yet. But what EthW is trying to do is take EIP 1559, which burns all fees above the base fee. You remember that's all this about burning Ethereum, sending it basically to never be used again, a good portion of what is paid in fees. So they're basically taking a multi-sig wallet and dumping those fees in there instead. And this is being criticized, this 1559 DAO or whatever you want to call it, because it's against just the burning of the fees. You're basically going to continue to have that issuance as just a way to, if not enrich, at least support the developers or the maintainers of EthW. So anyway, the 1559 multi-sig wallet. This approach has been criticized by many. They say in this blog post, we understand where the critics come from. We have to take it due to the sheer cost of sustaining a public blockchain infrastructure like Ethereum, including but not limited to development, testing, servers, Explorer, RPC clusters, etc. Although I'm pretty sure Bitcoin was able to manage a lot of that without having to fund that infrastructure as a truly public, decentralized ecosystem built up by volunteer developers. But anyway, first, this is the only way to fund the project. Secondly, the surplus will be fairly distributed back to miners, although we haven't exactly heard how they would be doing that or what counts as a surplus, right? Last but not least, no, we are not after those ethers. We are geeks, and many of us have already made it. We are politically motivated to work together to protect the Ethereum that we love. It seems like some of these talking points are almost like Ethereum classic talking points to me. It's just quite silly to me. What's up, Pickle Rick? Monitor the merge. The disrupt.org. I'm going to go ahead and say that, I probably shouldn't just be going to random websites, random because I hadn't heard of it before, but I'm going to take your advice. Let's go check out what is disrupt.org. I don't feel like I'm being scammed yet. MetaMask isn't opening up and asking me for transactions. It looks like we're good. On the verge of the merge. Indeed, we are close. Cool. Thank you for that website. It looks like you have a link or actually an index here to the fear and greed index where you can see where we're at. We're at a 27 fear. Cool. I appreciate it. Looks legit. You got some resources there like a blog. Nice. We're all excited about the merge. So we also heard a little bit more about what's going to be happening with the release of this fork, which isn't happening exactly as the merge is taking place. The EthW mainnet will happen within 24 hours after the merge, the EthW team said. The exact time will be announced 1 hour before launch with a countdown timer and everything, including final code, binaries, config files, nodes info, RPC, Explorer, etc. will be made public when the time's up, the group wrote in a Tuesday tweet. So, I don't know if this is entirely anonymous. This could be the work of Chandler Guo, who had been trying to rally together the miners, especially in Asia, to develop some sort of alternative to the official Ethereum proof of stake to allow for miners to continue to mine. So this very well could be Chandler, although I don't have any sort of definitive proof, just like I don't have definitive proof that Richard Hart holds the master sweeping key to all the hex. But, it could at least be possible. From the DAO to the merge. Yeah, Miles. Here with Omar through it all. Hell yeah, let's do it. Indeed, man. Indeed. Nice to have you, Miles. So Hudson Jameson gave us some more info about this. He said ETH PoW actually isn't freezing contracts. It is unclear if they're still editing, like I said, EIP 1559 to the tips to go to a miner DAO. Although the code PRs suggest that this is continuing to happen, and they're likely launching the days after the merge happens, which Hudson Jameson, huge longtime Ethereum community core member, I guess you could say. I have huge doubts, he said, they will gain much hash power if they launch post-merge. Hash power will be on other chains by then, and the value proposition of ETH PoW is tenuous already. So it does seem like it's the case. Right now, you have other coins that are GPU mineable climbing in hash rate. For example, Ethereum Classic has climbed quite a bit. You can see here on July 27th, 2022. So not that long ago, the hash rate was about 21 terahashes a second. And the hash rate now is around 58.2167 terahashes a second. So almost a 300% increase from the end of July till now. So as miners have been suspected of powering down their Ethereum rigs in favor of Ethereum Classic rigs since they use the same hashing algorithm. I thought this was just funny copy pasta that's going around. I wanted to share it. Shout out to the Cybercode twins who had retweeted it. Bafubar wrote, I do not give Vitalik permission to merge my ETH. Did you know you can opt out of the merge? By Ethereum law, you can refuse to be a part of the experiment. Repost this to spread awareness and tag Vitalik Buterin to let him know he does not have permission to merge your ETH. This is the kind of thing that you used to see a lot on Facebook, MySpace. Retweet this or you will be murdered. Your mother's gonna be murdered in the morning, something like that. Oh look, it's Vitalik's father. He wrote, you actually have to repeat this for every Ethereum community member, so maybe another 99,909 tweets and you are good. Oh geez, that seems like quite a lot of work. Vitalik did also note that even though we are seeing climbing hash power in coins like Ethereum Classic, Raven coin right now, he pointed this out just about 4 hours ago. Looks like the hash rate will drop before the merge due to miners rushing to sell ahead of everyone else. Thesis has been proven completely false. I'm a bit surprised. Well, look, even Vitalik can be surprised sometimes. I argued against a 50% drop, but definitely expected like a 5 to 10% drop. And he shows a screenshot here of the average hash rate of the Ethereum network, basically not dropping at all. Despite this, at least not to the degrees that he had expected or others had expected. So that another thesis proven false there. And just a little bit of a tip here, Ethereum James had put out on Twitter. He said, make sure to move your ETH off of exchanges to a hardware wallet or MetaMask before the merge if you care about getting the EthW fork coin. It's not guaranteed that exchanges will honor it. You do have some exchanges like Coinbase basically saying that if the coin truly survives, if it has enough demand, enough hash power, and by the way, it's trading on futures for around $28 right now, so almost $30. So it has climbed somewhat, this EthW fork coin. These are IOUs. It's not actually trading right now. But if there is enough interest, then these exchanges might list it and allow you to get access to that forked coin if you had your funds on an exchange. But if you want to be safe, if you really still want to sell and want to get access to that, without a doubt, it helps to have it in a wallet that you control the private keys to. So wanted to give you that as a heads up. Jordan Thomas, he's gonna rally up to 1,800 in the next few hours. That would be really awesome. Let's why not aim even higher? Let's go over 2,000. There is going to be taking away that, again, the fears around vulnerabilities, technical hiccups, another delay. This is going away and making the merge more of a certainty. So if the dumping has already happened, we did see a bit of a sell-off recently, like where, I mean, just was it yesterday or 2 days ago? Damn, it's crypto time. You get it. Where Bitcoin was basically up. The ratio was basically in Bitcoin's direction. It was way more favorable in Bitcoin's direction, where you had was it Ethereum down substantially more than Bitcoin, and that's been a change from what we've seen recently. So maybe that was the sell-off prior to the merge, and now that we are getting through this period, some of these reservations are going to go away, and you would have the institutions that are keen to stake now, and you have the people who were scared of the merge finally ready to get back in. That is just as likely, in my opinion, as a sell-off. I couldn't really predict where the prices are going to be going into this, so I wasn't trying to really trade around this event. Too many uncertainties, and I couldn't tell either way personally. What's up? Be mindful of love. Hey, it is super exciting times. Thank you for joining me here. Be mindful of love. And Michelle Tui, oh, so good to see you. Yeah, I thought of you yesterday because I got a message from Jen, and I'm always sending love to you guys and the community that I had met early on in Ethereum that supported me. I mean, you're a big reason here, Michelle, that I am still doing this. I mean, you guys made me feel so good about the work I was doing covering Ethereum early on and inviting me to events and keeping me up to date and teaching me so much. So thank you for that. I hope you're doing super well. So to continue on, we have an update here on Celsius. So as we know, they've gone bankrupt and they continue to have court hearings and have meetings with, for example, their committee for the unsecured creditors, or UCC, which is a group of people who have come together to try to get funds back on behalf of funds that have been locked, frozen, and basically taken away from customers on the Celsius platform. So there's a bankruptcy judge named Martin Glenn who ruled today that there is going to be an independent examiner. It's been approved that it's basically somebody outside of Celsius on behalf of the government is going to go into Celsius and examine several areas of Celsius's finances from the outside, including Celsius's crypto holdings, why there was a change in account offerings from the earn program to the custody service for some customers while others were placed in a withhold account, Celsius's procedures for paying various taxes, and the current status of the utility obligations of Celsius's mining business. So now that this has taken place, an examiner is going to have to be approved, and he or she will have 7 business days to propose a work plan and budget after they have been chosen. Then they're going to have basically 60 days to file their report following 7 days of the court approving the plan and the budget. There has been a push from this committee of unsecured creditors and attorneys that were worried about this investigation. Maybe not them, but others outside of them are actually quite worried that this would cause Celsius even more money, which obviously is coming out of the pocket of customers who had funds parked there at Celsius. So they agreed, however, this committee and the lawyers in separate filings, they agreed to the appointment so long as the examiner's scope was narrowed to limit the cost and the time of investigation. So I think that's good to hear that they're looking out for that and not trying to waste too much time and therefore money that, again, belongs to users. Just wanted to give you a heads up on an update there right now. It was coming out yesterday that Celsius has basically proposed to the Committee of Unsecured Creditors, hey guys, we're actually thinking about this project Kelvin, and we want to be a custody company first now. So we basically just want to charge fees for certain transactions for users, and that's how we're going to get back money, and we're going to restructure the business and become solvent again. And we also heard something else that I didn't get a chance to message, which, by the way, what I just said, that had a complete pushback from the Committee of Unsecured Creditors. They said, no, we think that is stupid, this Project Kelvin. That doesn't make any sense. And again, who would, park funds for custody at somewhere like Celsius when even custodied funds currently at Celsius continue to be locked? It just doesn't make much sense. Also, Celsius wants to continue, as you saw there, with their mining business in order to get funds back for users, which to me seems a little bit more tenable. A little bit more reasonable, perhaps, and maybe more profitable, although that is debatable. Yeah, just a continued drama of all of this. And it continues to pay out. I'll update you on anything that goes on here in relation to that as we go forward. That's major. So if you want to follow the merge as well and you don't want to visit the disrupt.org, then you can also go over to ultrasound.money. And there you can see all sorts of information. We're just about 7 hours and 30 minutes. Wow, how coincidental here. Almost exactly 7 hours and 30 minutes away from the merge. We're so close. No matter where you are, we're the same distance away from it now. Very exciting. You can go ahead and check out what the issuance would be like on different time scales. For example, if you go to all, issuance would be negative here, supply growth over a year. But right now, it's looking like supply growth for Ethereum based on recent data, last 30 days, is going to be about 0.1% extra issuance a year, which is not much at all, or 0.6 million ETH a year. Still, it's going to be a huge drop complete drop in what's issued to miners who have to sell for electricity coming up very shortly, and creates huge incentives for people to hold or hoard more ETH because they can stake it and therefore grow that amount that they have even more. And if you don't stake your ETH, the thing with proof of stake is that technically you're losing money to issuance. But the way that Ethereum exists right now, you're losing money to issuance unless you're a miner, where it's arguably easier, especially when you have problems with acquiring hardware like GPUs, because if you remember during COVID, it was so difficult to acquire them. Maybe you did want to mine, but you couldn't find these graphics cards at all. Therefore, you couldn't validate. Now you have more options to validate than ever. It might not be delegated proof of stake, but you can just as easily go to somewhere like Coinbase or set up yourself a rocket pool or Lido, and you can go ahead and stake with smaller amounts of ETH if you don't want to go ahead and hoard 32 ETH to get your own node. together. But if you want to do it, then you can do that and support the decentralization of the network. But there are more ways for people to participate and not get left behind due to inflation than ever before. And by being at the issuance of money, you're able to do that by being a validator, getting a share of those rewards. So what's up, Griff? Oh, what's up, Griff? So happy to see you. I was talking about Give It the other day and what you guys were doing. I wish I could have you on the show to talk about like Dump.today and what's going on with that and what's going on with Giveth. But listening to this while cleaning up from Burn. Oh yeah, you were at the Burn. I wonder how Burning Man was this year, and your camp and the crypto folks, what people had to say out there. Missed you for sure. And always humble to have you here. So Craig Wright is having right now, he just had his third day of a hearing with Hodlonaut. As you might know, he's battling out Hodlonaut in yet another case of defamation and people calling him a fraud and a scammer. And it looks like Hodlonaut's real life name is Magnus Granath, who is going up against him, who initiated this lawsuit in Norway to get a judge to rule that his tweets were protected. These tweets calling Wright a fraud and scammer because he claims to be Satoshi. So these were protected by the constitutional right to freedom of speech and prevent Wright's defamation suit, which had been filed in UK, from moving forward. So this is just kind of funny, and I want to bring it up to you because I thought it was interesting. So Craig Wright doesn't want to provide cryptographic proof that he is Satoshi, and here's some of the reasoning. Craig Wright is of the perception that to sign with the private key one block or the other is not conclusive evidence of whether he is Satoshi or not. Although I think the majority of the crypto community would disagree with that. It's never one thing or the other is sufficient. You need several elements. You need the whole package. So there were numerous excerpts from Andrew O'Hagan's 2016 article, The Satoshi Affair, to show that in addition to not feeling like cryptographic evidence would be enough to silence his critics, Wright has also struggled emotionally with the burden of proving his identity as Satoshi. So using passages from the Satoshi Affair, Manshaus has argued that Wright has difficulty trusting people and suffered extreme emotional pain and exhaustion after a private signing session, you might remember this, intended to prove his ownership of Satoshi's private keys with Bitcoin developer Gavin Anderson in 2016 that caused him to break down in tears. I don't remember having heard or read that he had broken down in tears because he had basically privately shown to Gavin Anderson that he was Satoshi, but Gavin wasn't able to share any actual proof outside of what went on there, and we never. It was just basically like he said it's cool. He said it. He's Satoshi, so we have to take that at face value. But apparently, all that caused Wright to break down in tears. Interesting. If you do want to follow the hearing, it looks like Bitcoin Magazine is out there, and they are publishing the videos of this testimony of Craig Wright versus Hodlonaut on their YouTube page. So you can go and check out Bitcoin Magazine on YouTube and watch for yourself if you want to waste 4 hours. I'm just joking. Maybe it is valuable to you to watch through the whole thing. I saw some of it, but I'll admit I got a little bit bored after a while. Anyway, we'll finish up there with a quote of the day. Give every day the chance to be the most beautiful day of your life. Mark Twain. Thanks, Mark. And you know what? It is kind of beautiful because of the merge. Maybe the most beautiful. Maybe one day we will look back at this as a real turning point in history. This is arguably one of the biggest events in crypto, if not the biggest. I would say really I guess there have been a lot of big events, but this is definitely the biggest SIG upgrade or change to a network since Segwit and the whole Segwit drama that took place for Bitcoin. And this is one of the biggest up there with the DAO. This is big like Mount Gox. This is the merge. This is when fundamentally things change and shift, and all this research is really going to be, and efforts are going to be put to the test in just a few hours. So I can't wait to see what happens and hopefully be celebrating with you guys. And if you are celebrating, let me know what you're doing. It would be really nice to hear about that in the comments down below. Take care, everyone. Much love, and as always, stay cryptic. Peace.